The Rangers have played a lot of dumb games this year, but this one on Thursday, I think it takes the cake for the absolute dumbest game of the year.
You are Locked On Rangers, your daily Texas Rangers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are locked onto the Texas Rangers, the first and best daily Rangers podcast. I'm Bryce Patrick, a cripplingly addicted Texas Rangers fan, covering this team for 12 seasons, including all 7 as the founder and host of this podcast. Thank you all so much for making Locked On Rangers your first listen every single day. If you're not already, you can follow me on Twitter at Bryce Patrick. You can follow the show at Locked On Rangers. Hit subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform and on YouTube, where the best way you can help grow the show is to comment nearly any single thing below. Now, on today's show, we're talking about Jack Leiter's kind of bounce back, not bounce back start. The schedule just having absolutely no let up. And, well, it's an episode of Locked On Rangers in 2025. So I'm going to talk about this offense being poo-poo garbage. Before we get into all of that, this episode is brought to you by Amazon Fire TV Stick 4K. Turn any TV into your Xbox. No console needed. Head to amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to learn more. Now, the Rangers lost again yesterday. Unsurprisingly, it was a bit of a mixed bag for Jack Leiter. His longest start of his major league career, 5 1/3 innings, 3 hits, 4 runs, all of them earned, although it should have been just 3 runs because the second Jack Leiter leaves the game with an inherited runner on first, it's going to score. It could be 2 outs, and he could leave the game with the slowest runner on the history of the earth on first base as an inherited runner. Even he could leave the game with an inherited runner on first base with 2 outs and 2 strikes, an 0-2 count. He could leave the game at that point, and still somehow the relievers always find a way to give up those extra runs. And it was a rough start at the beginning for Jack Leiter. He was getting ahead of hitters, and he was not able to put them away, get into 0-2 counts consistently. Heck, the first 2 batters got into 2 strike counts, and then they still both reached base. An 0-2 count, he hits Jarren Duran with a pitch, and he just wasn't quite able to put these hitters away because he was trying to be too perfect. His stuff is very, very good. He wasn't getting as many swings and misses as I feel like he should have in this one. Was relying a lot on that four-seam fastball. 40 four-seam fastballs of the 90 pitches that he threw, 19 sliders, 19 sinkers, 8 curveballs. We got 3 called strikes with those, and they did not swing at him when he was in the zone. It was a good mix for the most part. Only 4 changeups. I kind of like that changeup being used just very, very sparingly because it sets up his pitches better than it is an effective pitch on its own. But still, the first run of the game scores on a wild pitch. The second run of the game scores on a ground out. And, only one of those runs did it feel like the Red Sox actually earned off of him, of the 4 that he ended up giving up. One of them was given up by Jacob Latz, who immediately let the runner at first base get over to second base on just the longest delivery to the plate that I've ever seen with a runner on base. And then, of course, lets in an RBI single to score that run. So Jack, instead of having a sub-5 ERA, he has a 5.09 ERA after this game. I mean, he really just beat himself early on in this game with those walks, with a little bit of a tighter strike zone than I think was fair. There are quite a few pitches. One that was an 0-2 pitch made him throw 4 more pitches in that at bat to eventually still get the same result. An 0-2 pitch right there on the corner, a perfect strike, low and away to a right-handed hitter that was completely in the zone and somehow called the ball, despite other pitches in this game being 2-3 inches below the zone, 2-3 inches off the plate away to those same right-handed hitters being called strikes. I don't understand what this home plate umpire Adam Beck was doing in this game. The high strike was not there, and that really hurts Jack Leiter because he is very, very effective pitching up in the zone with that four-seam fastball. That's how he gets a lot of his strikeouts. That's how he gets a lot of weak contact by pitching that four-seam fastball up at the top of the zone. And if that's not being called, if that's not a strike, then it really limits how well he can do. But just seeing him bounce back in this one, able to have a couple of really, really clean innings after some extremely trafficking innings, especially that 4th inning, getting Trevor Story out pretty easily, getting Abraham Toro out pretty easily, and getting Carlos Narvaez to strike out swinging a little bit longer at bat than I think he would have liked. That was the one that, went a lot longer. It went to a 7-pitch at bat as opposed to a 3-pitch at bat, which it should have been. But it's still overall a pretty decent day. I thought maybe you could have pulled him out after 5 innings, but the Rangers wanted to get more outs out of him. They could have gotten through 6 innings if he had been a little bit better with his pitches in that final inning. Alas, that was not the case. But just seeing this again, I know the last outing for Jack Leiter, he talked about how, well, a lot of those runs that he gave up 6 runs in his last start before this one. Before those runs came off of a Cal Raleigh grand slam, off of a well-executed curveball. The bases were loaded on a bunch of weak contact. So he said, hey, I'm not as concerned with the results as the process, because Mike Bassick did a really great job talking about this on the broadcast of saying, hey, if you focused only on results, if you only hold yourself to the results, you could say you could make a lot of adjustments that you don't necessarily need to make. Overall, the more you're not going to get beat by Cal Raleigh grand slams every single game. But if you throw that pitch to most hitters in most situations in 2 strikes, that's a well executed curveball. If you swing at it, usually almost every other hitter in baseball, there's a curveball 3, 4, 5 inches below the zone that he had gotten Kyle Raleigh to swing and miss on earlier in the count. And he just happens to hook it just barely over the fence in right field for a grand slam. But, most of the times you throw that pitch, if you are only worried about results, then you're going to throw more pitches in the zone. You're going to, make adjustments that don't need to be made. And overall, just seeing Jack Leiter be able to bounce back, be able to have, such a tough mental fortitude about himself and not get rattled when things start to go off the rails, that's incredibly encouraging. Seeing him be able to make in-game, in-at-bat adjustments is something that he hadn't really done before. It's a really difficult thing to do at the big league level, and it's something you just kind of have to do at the big league level. It's not something you can just figure out in the minors. You got to just do it to be able to figure out how to do it. And yes, I know overall the stats haven't looked as pretty. Eventually, those home runs and walk numbers were going to come back down a little bit more back down to earth after his incredible first couple of starts. I don't think the blister is bothering him at all. He hasn't said that is any reason, any excuse for how he's pitched the last couple of times out there. But overall, it's progress. I mean, this is what you get when you throw rookies out there in your everyday rotation. When the Rangers were going to start they opened the year with 2 rookies in the rotation, and both of these guys, both Leiter and Rocker, they weren't quite ready yet. And the Rangers knew that. They knew they weren't quite ready yet. But when you have 2 massive injuries to your starting rotation at the beginning of the year, with Cody Bradford and John Gray both going down for at least 2 months, the depth's got to step up. And eventually these 2 guys are going to have to be a big part of the Rangers rotation, of the next good Rangers team. Is that this year's Rangers team? It's not looking like it at this point. But eventually, for the long term, if this team wants to compete, assuming that whatever curse has been levied against this Rangers offense, you need good pitching as well, and good pitching development as well. Heck, I said I would do anything to watch the Rangers develop a decent homegrown starting pitcher. And maybe I spoke too soon. Maybe that was what sacrificed the offense. I don't know. We'll talk about the offense in the second segment, but just seeing Jack Leiter be able to go out there against a very, very good Red Sox offense and, beat himself a little bit. He honestly pretty handily outdueled Brian Bayo in this one. The Rangers, the fact that they didn't score, again, we'll talk about the offense in a second, but him being able to bounce back and battle back there against a tough lineup, and really, if he had not beaten himself, if he had been a little bit smarter, a little bit, better executing his pitches in stressful situations, he would have only given up 1 run. The only one the run that I could say, he would probably feel like he truly gave up, that the Red Sox really earned off of him, was that RBI single by Rafael Devers, who just had a really, really good bit of hitting. I believe it was a slider below the zone, a couple inches on a 2-strike pitch that, normally should be a swing and a miss. And normally with a breaking ball that sharp, that is not, it was a fastball below the zone. And he had already gotten Devers to miss earlier on in the count. I believe it was a 2-strike pitch that was below the zone, and he just muscled it out there into center field. A really good bit of hitting by a really, really good hitter. That's an RBI single. That you're not asking these guys to be perfect. You're asking them to be at least okay. And for the most part, he was. And Jacob Latz, outside of letting in that inherited runner score off of first base, really a cardinal sin for a reliever. He was mostly really good, and he was able to save this Rangers pen from having to throw anybody else besides him. He got 4 strikeouts in this one. He checked it all the way up to 98. I didn't think Jacob Latz was throwing that hard, but hey, he was in this one. And, credit to him. He got 4 strikeouts in his 2 2/3 inning that worked. The only run that he gave up on his own ledger was a Fenway type of home run off of a lefty, Rafael Devers, a very, very good lefty for sure. But, overall, a decent outing from him. And even though this Rangers offense didn't score, I don't feel like this loss is totally on Jack Leiter. Coming up, we're going to talk about this offense, and I'm going to want to bash my head through a wall, just like I do on every single episode. This show is brought to you by Trade Coffee. Let's be real. Coffee isn't just a drink. It's a ritual, a lifeline, the thing that gets you from half asleep to fully functioning. And if it's that essential, why settle for anything less than amazing? That's where Trade Coffee comes in. Whether you're gearing up for back-to-back meetings, shuttling kids back and forth between activities, or tackling an endless to-do list, your morning sets the tone for it all. That's why you just start with the perfect cup of coffee crafted just for you. Enter Trade. Trade is the #1 coffee destination in the U.S., delivering fresh, incredible coffee from over 50 of the country's top roasters. Whether you're a cold brew fan or a pour-over purist, they've got the roast that you'll love. I took Trade's quiz. It only took a minute, and the first bag they sent me was spot on. I love that their prices are comparable to grocery store brands, but the flavor is on a whole nother level. Right now, Trade is offering customers 50% off your 1-month trial at drinktrade.com/LockedOnMLB. That's TRADE.com/LockedOnMLB for 50% off your 1-month trial. drinktrade.com/LockedOnMLB. This show is also brought to you by Amazon Fire TV. Did you know your Fire TV is also an Xbox? Turn any TV into your gaming and entertainment hub with Fire TV Stick 4K devices. No console required. Just grab your paired controller, subscribe, or sign into Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with EA Play included, and you're ready to go. Dive into hundreds of premium titles like EA Sports College Football 25, Call of Duty Black Ops 6, and Avowed. As easily as you stream your favorite shows, it's gaming made simple, and it's all on your Fire TV. With 4K streaming, you can watch more than 1.5 million movies and TV episodes from your favorite subscribed devices like Netflix, Prime TV, Disney Plus, Max, and more. Play high-quality Xbox games at a fraction of the cost of a console. If you already have a console, Fire TV is Stick 4K devices more affordable and easier to travel with, so you can take your kids gaming and your gaming wherever you go. Head to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to get started. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription and compatible controller required. Available on select devices, including Fire TV Stick 4K 2nd Gen, Fire TV Stick 4K Max 1st and 2nd Gen, and Fire TV Cube 3rd Gen. Shout out to the Everydayers for making Locked On Rangers your first listen every single day. We'll be back on Monday talking about this weekend series against the Tigers and every single game. After every single game this weekend, go check out the Locked On Rangers postcast with Jeff Biggs. He will be with you right after all of these games. And maybe the offense will be better. Probably not, because Tarek Skubal is on the mound in this Friday game and coming off of yet another shutout. This was the 5th time the Rangers have been shut out this year in 38 games. That's 13% of the games this offense has been completely shut out. It is just insane. This one, the offense was both bad and unlucky. I don't know how you necessarily do that, but when you get to the starting pitcher, when you get him out of the game before the end of the 5th inning, a starting pitcher who went 4 2/3 innings, gave up 5 walks and 4 hits, and you score nothing. I don't know how that's possible. I truly don't know how. Part of me just wants to chalk this one up to a whoopsie daisy, because if I keep talking about how much this offense sucks, I feel like I'm going to have 17 brain aneurysms. It's just infuriating. After that 5th inning, the Rangers had 5 walks and a .305 expected batting average as a team. As a team, they were hitting .300 and had 5 walks through 5 innings, and they had no runs. It is truly impossibly difficult to do that. It is legendarily, spectacularly unlucky. and also just bad. And it was bad process of these at bats. I mean, part of it was just a super weird double play that Wyatt Langford grounded into, multiple double plays, because it feels like the second this offense gets anything going, everybody's just grounding into a double play. They had one grounded into by Dustin Harris, and just some bad at bats, especially in that first inning. I mean, Josh Smith grounds out in the first pitch that he sees. Fine, whatever, fine. Wyatt Langford battles back with a really, really good at bat. 6 pitches that he saw and dumped a single into center field. Then Jock Peterson sees 1 strike and then proceeds to see, I believe, 12 or maybe 13 straight balls for the rest of the day. He walks. Then you have runners on first, second. Adolis Garcia sees a pitch right down the middle, takes it for strike 1, takes ball 1, pitch 2 down the dirt, and then swings at a pitch that was a little bit below the zone, grounds into a little bit of a force out. And then Marcus Semien, with runners at the corners, sees 5 pitches. None of them are in the zone, and he swings at 4 of them and strikes out. It was just a truly, truly terrible process of an at-bat. Then the Rangers do nothing in the second inning because, of course, and then in the third inning, Tucker Barnhart, have yourself a game. You know what? I'm talking about this offense. There's something good that happened today in the offense, and it was Tucker Barnhart. He reached base 4 times as the 9-hole hitter. 3 singles, 3 well-struck singles, honestly. If he was a little bit speedier, maybe he could have turned those in, one of those or 2 of those into a double. Probably not with this Red Sox outfield and Willie Abreu's absolute bazooka launcher of an arm. But still, great day for him. Reached base 3 times with 3 singles, and then also had a hit by pitch in the 9th inning to give just that little bit of false hope. But still, the offense was doing enough. Wyatt Langford was stealing bases to get himself into scoring position for the Red Sox to again walk Jock Peterson. Adolis Garcia worked a walk, and then another not great at bat by Marcus Semien. Saw 3 pitches from Bayo, who had just walked multiple guys in the inning. And he swings at 2 of the 3 pitches and pops one up. The first pitch was below the zone, a sinker. Maybe he could have done something with. He fouls that off. Pitch number 2 was a slider that would have gone behind a batter that was hitting left-handed in that batter's box. That's how far off that was. And then pitch was a borderline strike. It was a slider, a little bit closer in, but away. Not a kind of pitch that Marcus Semien could do much damage with. And then he popped out with the bases loaded. Again, this team doing nothing with the bases loaded. And I know that hiring a new hitting coach, for those who expected it to be immediate results, it was the first couple of games. They still averaged 3 1/3 runs in this series. So, hey, a little bit above their average of just 3. They got 6 in the first game, 4 in the second game, and they should have had more. They should have had a lot more in that second game. They should have won that second game, and then this game would have been a whole lot less frustrating. But this team in the last 2 games combined is 0 for 17 with runners in scoring position. I don't know what the process is here. I don't know what sweeping changes need to be made. You don't bring in a hitting coach and then immediately have everything be fixed about this offense. That's not how it works. I think Brett Boone is going to be a good sounding board for this offense, a good different guy in the room to give a little bit of a different perspective, a little bit different of a message, or maybe the same message, but just from a new voice that maybe could be helpful. But again, this was absolutely infuriating. And then Josh Jung having some pretty good at bats, but the Sedan Rafael is just a truly elite defensive center fielder. I mean, I knew that going in. He is truly a very weird and special player, a guy who plays elite defense in center field, in all kinds of different outfield spots, also plays really good defense on the infield at shortstop. If you got a guy who's an elite defender in center field and at shortstop, those guys are one of one, especially with the kind of athleticism that he has. I mean, he had a great day. He reached base 3 times for the Red Sox. He got a couple of hits, including scoring a run. He also worked a walk and just had some truly spectacular plays out there in center field. And the capper of what felt like just a truly mind-numbingly bad and unlucky offensive day was Josh Jung leading off the 9th inning against Liam Hendricks. Absolutely destroys a baseball, destroys it. A 990 expected batting average. He hit it 107.8 miles an hour off the bat. Launch angle 26. That's one of the ideal launch angles. went 419 feet. Out. 990 expected batting average. Out. Home run in 26 of 30 parks. Out. Because of course. I think this is the only stadium where that wouldn't have been at least a double off the wall. In Arizona, it's pretty darn deep to center field, but that wall is incredibly high, and I don't think it goes as far, but it is harder to hit a home run to center field at Chase Field, but it would have at least clanged off that big old batter's eye in center field at Chase Field, and it wouldn't have been a home run at Coors Field, allegedly, but I'm pretty sure you factor in all of the air thinness in Coors, and that would have been a home run there. And maybe Detroit, maybe that also wouldn't have been a home run there. I don't know. With any other center fielder, maybe it wasn't, would be at least a triple or double in the gap or something. And true, if that had been a home run, then the Rangers probably would have just lost 5-1. But again, it was just another one of these things that just made me want to bang my head against the wall watching this offense time and time and time again. They started working their walks. Okay, that's the first part of my offensive system. Swing at good pitches, don't swing at the bad ones. There you go. You're getting that. Then when you swing, hit the ball. They're doing a decent bit of that. They didn't swing and miss that much in this game. They actually only struck out 3 times in this game. Just 3 strikeouts. So, okay. When you hit the ball, hit it hard. Well, that's taking some getting. All right. We got 2 steps out of the 5. 2 steps out of the 5. That is progress. There are better swing decisions for the most part. Again, once they're getting into these clutch situations, it feels like their heads just go on sideways. But hey, you hire a new hitting coach. He's not going to fix everything in one day, but it just feels like this Rangers team has really been up against it. Coming up, we're talking about a little bit about the schedule and why, even though the Rangers have a losing record, it feels like every single team they're playing is a contender. That's because it is. Talk about when that lets up right after this. This show is brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA playoffs are in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout play, there's never a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live with player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays. Fans have more ways to play ever, and when you play, you can win big as well. Looking at also Stanley Cup odds right now, as I last checked yesterday, I believe this is still the case at nope. Okay. Well, the Dallas Stars have fallen all the way to the second best odds to win the Stanley Cup behind the Edmonton Oilers after the Edmonton Oilers, I'm assuming, won last night. That'd be crazy if their odds jumped if they lost. They are plus 300 to win the Stanley Cup, and the Stars, second favorites at plus 330 to win the whole dang thing. So if you're new to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head over to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. Shout out to the NBA for making Locked On Rangers your first listen every single day. I will be back on Monday, and please, Rangers offense, give me something nice to talk about from this weekend. Please, just surprise me. Surprise me. Go off on Tarek Skubal. Just go off on him. Light into Reese Olson. Light into somebody this weekend, because I do not want to be sitting here on Monday talking about yet another offensively abysmal performance. It has just been, I feel like I'm trapped in Groundhog Day, the movie. Hey, I'm Bryce Patrick. Here's Locked On Rangers episode about how the Rangers offense sucks. Hey, I'm Bryce Patrick. Here's an episode of Locked On Rangers about how the Rangers offense sucks. Please give me something new to say. I am begging you. Please, Rangers offense. Please. Something new. Something. Honestly, that's why I was so grateful for Wednesday night's bullpen blow up. I'm like, hey, Bill Austin a new way. That was exciting. They scored 4 runs. Normally, that's good enough to win. And that night, it wasn't. Okay, that's fine. It's just driving me insane doing the same show since the start of 2024. I ran out of things to say about this offense should be better, and it isn't in like July of last year. And then they just kept on doing it. And it might not get better this weekend. I mean, the starting pitching matchups are going to be tough. You're going against the reigning Cy Young winner on Friday after getting shut out against a pitcher who did not have it on Thursday. That's a tough assignment. You got Patrick Corbin going. Maybe he'll be enough to quiet these Tigers bats, but alas, it is going to be tough. And then it's Jacob deGrom versus Jack Flaherty on Saturday. But Jack Flaherty has been having a really, really good season with the Tigers. And then Reese Olson starts in the Sunday game. So that's going to be also a very tough assignment. And this Rangers team, the Tigers are not some slouch team. They are maybe the best team in the American League. Right now, they're 25-13. I believe that's the best record in the American League, if I am doing my math. Yes, it is pretty comfortably the best record in the American League. They also have the best run differential. They're also on a 4-game winning streak. They have won, 4 games in a row. They lost 1, and then they won 3 before that. So they are 7-1 in their last 8 games. Whew. This is a tough assignment. This offense that I thought was going to be bad or mid has been awesome. Spencer Torkelson has been awesome so far this year. He's got a 907 OPS. Javi Baez is hitting again. He's hitting over 300, and he's playing center field. What? I don't understand why Javi Baez can figure it out, but Marcus Semien can't. This team has been faced with a brutal schedule to start this season. I didn't think it'd be this brutal. The Rangers have played every single game outside of 3 against a team with a winning record. All but 3 games. We are 38 games into the season. How is that possible that this team has played only 3 games against a team with a losing record? And they won all 3 of those games. That was a sweep against the Angels. That's the only team they've played all year with a sub 500 record. Now, if the Rangers had been able to sweep this series like they probably should have, if they played competent offense and had a slightly better bullpen, or at least a slightly better bullpen night on Wednesday, then they would be talking about a sweep, and then they would have played 7 games against the Red Sox, who would be below 500. But alas, that's not how things worked out. And then here you go. After this brutal start to schedule, they're going to play their first 41 games with just 3 games against a team with losing record. Then, thank God, on Monday next week, the Rangers get to play the Rockies. I was literally just thinking after this stretch, like, when do the Rangers get to play the Rockies? When do they get to play the White Sox? Thankfully, they've got a couple of series against bad teams in their next 5 series. But the other 3 are against maybe the best teams in the American League. The Astros probably not right now, but they got a 4-game series against them at home. And, the Astros pitchers are pitching incredibly well, and this Rangers offense has been truly terrible. So that's going to be every game 1-2, 2-3, 3-1, 3-0, probably in that series. And this Tiger squad is no joke. This is going to be a tough weekend, especially when you get the best 3 starters of this already very, very good Tigers rotation. The Rangers absolutely need to sweep against the Rockies, and they need to batter their brains out. The Rockies are on pace to be the worst team in the history of baseball, and they're going to really, really need to take advantage. But heck, you look at the rest of the schedule. After that series against the Yankees, the Rangers go 3 against the Tigers, 3 at home against the Rockies, 4 at home against the Astros, then 3 on the road at Yankee Stadium. Then after that, it starts to get just a little bit easier. You got 3 games in Chicago against the hapless White Sox. You got a homestand where you get to face off against the Cardinals and also the Blue Jays. And then you got a road trip against the Rays, Nationals, and Twins. That should be a lot easier. Heck, the month of June is looking a whole lot easier. There's only really what looks like 1 tough series. Maybe the Twins have figured it out by then, but they've been truly bad this year. You got 1 series against the Mariners at home towards the end of June, the 27th through the 29th. But you've got games against the Pirates, who are horrible. You've got a series against the Orioles, who are horrible. You start a series at the end, the final game of June, against the Orioles, who are, again, still horrible. You got 3 against the White Sox. You got against the Nationals. You got teams that are gettable, and they'll need to get them. They will need to get them a lot. Heck, it feels like they just need to survive this weekend against the Tigers. Just don't get swept. I don't think this team is going to win this series. If this team can eke out a run, a singular one, uno, run against Tarek Skubal, I will feel much better about the process changing. If they can get one singular, uno, hit with runners in scoring position, just a hit. It doesn't even have to drive in a run. Just get a hit. Break the 0 for 17. It's probably more than that because there were definitely a few in the game before that. But break the at least 0 for 17 curse with runners in scoring position. Right now, you look at this offense with runners in scoring position. They have the 6th lowest OPS in baseball. Somehow, the Baltimore Orioles have a 564 OPS with runners in scoring position. Rangers aren't that much better. They got a 643 OPS with runners in scoring position and on base below 300 at 292. They're hitting just 233 and slugging just 351. They have a worse offense by almost 40 points of OPS with runners in scoring position than the freaking Pittsburgh Pirates, who are abysmal offensively. How do you do that? How? I do not understand. I am through understanding. It just be better. Just be better. Okay? Please. Marginally better. Just a little bit. For once, for the love of all that is holy, figure something out. Brett Boone. Just, have you tried telling them to hit the baseball good? As a podcaster, maybe they hire me in there to tell them, hey, hit the baseball good. Stop swinging at the poo-poo pitches. Hit the ones that are good. I know I have a few less career home runs in the majors than Brett Boone, but I have a podcast, and hearing Josh Young say, oh, he's got a podcast. He knows ball. He'll probably be good for us. That was a hilarious quote because I have a podcast. I know ball. Are you going to hire me to be the hitting coach? I'd take a pretty low salary compared to, I'm sure, other hitting coaches. Just give me about $200K and I'll give up this podcasting job. And I will tell you professionally, just hit the baseball good, because right now, how much could it hurt? And how much worse can this offense get? I hope it can't get any worse, because if it does, I might actually put my head through a wall. That's going to do it for today's show. Thank you all so much for listening and subscribing. And until next time, I don't know how, but don't forget to enjoy baseball.